I hail from a time best described as pre-everything. Pre-MTV, pre-PlayStation, pre-anything that didn't involve catching tetanus for fun. So we were forced, legally, I believe, to spend our days outside. Which brings me to the fine and time-honoured game of Mumblety-Peg. The object is to throw a knife in various elaborate ways and make it stick into the ground without amputating anything important. Which leads us to my oldest cousin. We'll call him Tim. Now, Tim was the eldest and therefore, according to him, in charge, despite not being the brightest penny in the pile. He was up for a throw that, to hear him tell it, was going to set Olympic records. He wound up like a discus champion, launched the knife, and we all followed it with our eyes, except there was no knife. Back to Tim, empty hands. Back to the target, no knife. Back to Tim, still no knife. Then Tim toppled over. We figured he tripped, possibly over a patch of grass, possibly over his own shoe. Either way, we stepped right over him to go hunting for the missing knife. Several minutes later, somebody noticed that Tim was still face down and oddly quiet. That's when we spotted the knife, expertly embedded straight through the top of his foot, so naturally, we fucking panicked. The 8-year-old took off in a blur with shrieking limbs to fetch Grandma out. Tim rejoined us at that point, looked briefly around and followed our stairs down to his foot, where he stopped to ponder the concept of his new boot knife. Among those still standing, a consensus was reached. We needed to remove the knife. He disagreed loudly and with surprising strength for someone stapled to the fucking lawn. But the majority and mass rule. So while two cousins held him down, I, lucky me, opted to be the extraction specialist. I yanked the knife out like I was trying to win a prize at a particularly sadistic carnival game. Tim passed out. Again. And that's precisely when Grandma arrived. If you think my gran screamed or cried or called the authorities, you're clearly not from my family. She just sighed like this sort of thing has happened before, way too often. She checked him over with the clinical detachment of a field medic and declared he'll live and ordered us to drag him to her car. But not before she put his foot in a garbage bag. Not because it was hanging by a thread or anything. No, she just didn't want bloodstains over her Riviera. Now here's the real kicker. That Christmas, Grandma got all of us matching hunting knives, all except Tim. He got a box of Band-Aids.